Who would win, lobster versus crab? What if a lobster and a crab bumped into each other? What if they had a fight? Who do you think would win? Which lobster should fight the crab? Spiny lobster from the Caribbean? Sorry, you are spiky but have no claws. Pink spotted prawn? No way. You are a shrimp, not a lobster. Shovel-nosed lobster? No, you are strange looking. Go dig up a clam. American lobster? Perfect. 2 claws. Which crab? Which crab should fight the lobster? Dungeness crab? No. It is famous in San Francisco and on the West Coast. Its shell is rubbery. Alaskan king crab? Nope. You have only 6 legs. You are popular in restaurants all over the world. Horseshoe crab? No. You are not even a crab. You look prehistoric. Blue crab? Yes. You are one of the best known crabs in the world and maybe the best tasting. Crabs have 8 legs and 2 claws. The American lobster's scientific name is Humarus americanus. It lives off America's northeast and Canadian east coasts. Lobsters have a muscular tail. Lobsters are in an animal family called crustaceans. The lobster's teeth are in its stomach. The largest lobster was about 3 feet long and weighed 45 pounds. Meet the blue crab. The blue crab is the most popular crab in the world. Its scientific name is Callinectus sapidus, which means beautiful, savory swimmer. Savory means pleasant or agreeable in taste or smell. A blue crab can't bite with its mouth. A grinding mill inside its body chews its food. Blue crabs are known as swimming crabs. A blue crab does not have a tail. The largest blue crab was about 1 foot wide and weighed a little more than 1 pound. Where do lobsters live? Lobsters live from the North Carolina's coastline up to Canada and Canada's east coast. Lobsters can be found in shallow water close to shore and also in deep water miles out. Where do crabs live? Blue crabs are most often found from the south shore of Cape Cod in Massachusetts all the way down to the Texas-Mexico border. Chesapeake Bay is one of the most famous places for blue crab. Chesapeake Bay is an estuary, and estuary is where the ocean meets a river. Did you know blue crabs love shallow, brackish water? More than 150 rivers and streams empty into the Chesapeake Bay. Brackish water is part salt and part fresh water. The lobster's head and thorax is one piece. It's called a cephalothorax. A lobster has 8 legs, just like a spider and a scorpion. The lobster feeds itself with its 4 front legs. Crusher claw, scissor claw, mouth, eye, feeding legs, knuckles, tail. The American lobster has 5 flaps at the end of its tail. On land, lobsters cannot walk well. The front 2 legs on each side have pincers on them. Crab's anatomy. The blue crab's body is one piece. Its shell is called a carapace. The blue crab walks and runs sideways. A soldier crab is one of the few crabs that walks forward. Claws, eyes, antenna, carapace, swimming legs, walking legs. The last pair of legs on a blue crab are shaped like fins. Blue crabs can swim well, and they're also great runners. They can run fast on land. The crusher claw of a male lobster is bigger and wider than a female crusher claw. The claps under the tail are called swimmerets. Crusher claw, Male, female. Male. You can tell a male lobster by the hard shell on the top of the swimmerette. Female lobsters have a smaller string-like top swimmerette. Swimmerettes, male tail and female tail. Female lobster tails are wider than male lobster tails. Or a girl. Crabs have a flap between their 8 legs that is called an apron or a leaf. The girl's leaf is shaped like the Capitol Dome. Girl blue crabs also have red tips on their claws. They look like painted fingernails. Capitol Dome, female leaf. A she crab is a young female crab. Boy blue crabs have a shiny leaf. Some say it is shaped like the Washington Monument. Male leaf. Lobster claw. The 2 claws of a lobster are different. The crusher claw is dull and the scissor claw is sharp. Crusher claw. The crusher claw is slower and stronger and usually wider. The scissor claw is quicker and shinier. Some kids call them a crusher claw and a ripper claw. Other kids call them a smasher claw and a slasher claw. Scissor claw. Either claw could be on the right or the left. Crab pincers. Can you call them claws or pincers? Both words are correct. Claw type. Blue crab claws are not specialized. The claws of the blue crab are similar. Each claw is a mirror image of the other claw. Is this blue crab male or female? The clues you'll need are on page 13. Lobster bait. Most lobsters are caught by traps. Traps are baited with fish heads, fish guts, and fish bones. Lobster traps are also called lobster pots. Trap, buoy, rope. Lobstermen also set their traps with deer hides, hot dogs, chicken necks, steak bones, and even roadkill. Buoy color. A buoy is a marker that floats on the top of the water. Lobstermen can tell their gear by the color of the buoy. If you are a lobster man or a lobster woman, what color would your buoy be? Catch a crab. Blue crabs are caught by crab pots, trot lines, and by dip nets. Crabbers that fish with trot lines usually use chicken necks for bait. Kids watch blue crabs by dangling bait on a string and scooping crabs up or catch crabs by scooping them up with a net. Some crab traps are only the size of a loaf of bread. Crabs love fresh bait. Chicken, fish, steak, or any meat works well. Exoskeleton. Lobsters have an exoskeleton, which is a hard shell on the outside of their bodies. To grow larger, lobsters have to climb out of their shells and then grow a larger shell. This is called molting. Orange, old exoskeleton, dark orange, molting soft shell lobster. Hard shell. A lobster with a hard shell. The younger a lobster is, the more it molts. After molting, a lobster eats its old self. A recently molted lobster whose shell is delicate is called a soft shell. Molting. Crabs also have an exoskeleton and molt to grow larger. A peeler is a crab with a crab about to shed its shell. A hard shell is a crab that is not molting and has a hard shell. Green exoskeleton, dark green molting soft shell crab. A soft shell is a crab that has just shed its shell. A crustacean that molts is vulnerable to predators while in soft state. A female lobster with eggs is called an egger or a seeder. She carries the eggs, which are dark green, under her tail attached to her body and the swimmerets. Out of 50,000 eggs, it is estimated that only 2 grow up to be as large as their mother. The eggs turn light orange and hatch. The mom lobster carries between 3,000 and 75,000 eggs. One day after hatching, about half of the eggs get eaten by fish and other predators. Baby lobster. A sponger is a female crab with eggs. The crab below is a female blue crab whose leaf is full of eggs. Scientists think there are up to 2 million eggs in a large blue crab, a baby blue crab. Lobster eyes. Lobsters can't see well. They have antennas that sense vibrations in the water. They have a great sense of smell. Keeper, a lobster large enough to legally keep. V-notched tail. A female lobster that has been notched by the Department of Fisheries cannot be kept. Chicken lobster. A keeper lobster that weighs under 1 pound. Coal. A lobster with only 1 claw. Crab eyes. Crabs can't see well. They have a great sense of smell, and their antenna can sense motion. Crab vocabulary. Sook, a mature female blue crab. Jimmy, a male blue crab. Weapons. Lobsters have spikes all over their shells. They are armored and ready for battle. Spikes on the nose, spikes on the tail, spikes on the knuckles. A lobster can curl its tail and cut your finger or hand. Lobsters use their claws to defend themselves against fish and other creatures. Measuring. How do you measure a lobster? With a lobster gauge. Measure from the eye socket to the end of its head. In most states, the head must be 3 1/4 inch long to be a keeper. Armor. A crab has sharp points along its body. Take a good look at the blue crab. Predators can't easily swallow it. Most crabs do not have swimming legs. How do you measure a blue crab? With a crab gauge. Measure a crab from point to point, from side to side. In most states, a crab must be at least 5 inches long to be a keeper.